Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Crazy Luna Show. Anyway, just wanted to show you one of the finalized pieces in my abstract spectrum collection. I've currently got the red, orange, yellow, and obviously you can tell this is the green. I put them in a combination of the red, orange, and yellow smaller canvases. And then, of course, my green is my centerpiece. And then the blue, indigo, and violet are over here on this side. And where we currently are, I do believe that I've got enough smaller canvases so that I can create a collection for all of them. I will take us upstairs to the upstairs studio in a little bit. And we are going to begin with the work on the last 3 panels in the 7-panel collection, and that's going to be our blue, indigo, and violet. So stick around, see what's next. So here we are in the upstairs studio, guys. I've got my blue, and as you remember from the previous photo, there was a nice circle with a square, and I used different things to paint and get them squared, even, whatever. Anyway, I used tape to get the long strip of the next color. My color scheme goes, primary color is blue for this one. So the color before blue would be green. That'll be my circle. My strip will be indigo, because this is blue, this will be indigo. The next strip down here will be violet. Then the next strip up here will be orange. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I messed up. Our circle will be green. Primary color is blue. Then indigo will go down this way. And then violet is going to go over the top of our green. And then we're going to go back around to red, orange, and then yellow. I do not measure the lines. I don't measure where they go, what they do. I just like them to, well, pretty much go where they lie. I tape off first and make sure the tape is down very good so that none of the paint seeps through, because it's a pain to correct it, especially when you can't see it that well. So I'm going to challenge myself intensely today, because I am not only using blue, but I am also going to be using blue paint tape to tape off our first color stripe that goes down the side of this photo. In the interim time, I will also be painting my circle. I, funnily enough, can't find sponges anywhere that are circular, perfectly circular. So to get what I wanted, I happened to buy a new vacuum about a year ago, and it has those filters that go inside of the filtration system. And I thought, I really could use that, but I didn't want to take the one from the vacuum cleaner. So I reordered a bunch of circular sponge foam, circles. And that's what I'm using for the circle that I like to put up here in the far corner of my color that comes before the primary color. So we'll get to that today. And once I get the rest of this taped, we will also tape this, paint this stripe also. Once those dry, we'll progress again onto our square that goes over this circle. And we're going to start the first line that crosses over our primary line down here on the bottom. And that we'll get to the next time. I'm not overly concerned at this point about it. I know what I want, and that's it. I don't like to measure my lines because the problem I'm facing is not only A, can I not see them, but B, I think it makes it more funky when the lines don't fall directly even. So I've always stuck with that because I've never been traditional in any matter. So there you go. So we're going to put our tape here, and I need to find my paper plates that I use for my sponge circles. Yeah, what did I do with those? Oh, thinking I have everything where I need it, and I don't. Hold on, I shall return. All right, plates have been found, and I'm currently spreading my green around the base of my plate. I probably shouldn't do it over my painting because, yeah, well, bad things do tend to happen if you are an idiot and prone to accidents, as I usually am. So I am getting this all spread around. I am gonna dab my sponge circle filter, whatever, in here, and I'm swirling it around. I discovered with the first 3, I did not quite like that pock mark that the sponge generally had a tendency to take on. I'm turning my canvas so that I can place my circular sponge relatively close and it doesn't drip. And what I'd like to do with this to get it on here and not move is just to drop. Let it drop, and I'm going to twist it just a bit so that it has a little bit of full coverage here. And then I'm going to grab it in the middle and pull. And there we have our green circle. Not perfect, but since when have I ever been perfect? Now that we've completed our green circle, it's going to take a little bit of time for that to dry because this has had 2 layers of paint, 2 or 3 layers of blue paint down. And I've noticed it tends to take longer for our acrylics to dry on there. So I'm going to remove my paint stained plate, and now that we have our green, our blue, now we're going to go to our indigo. And this is going to be fun because you guys can watch as I try to keep my paint within the lines. I've got my brush, and I need to grab my indigo. And I do my indigo. I always make my own indigo and put them in these jars. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted. Yuck. That's pretty. My damp towel. Because nobody likes extra paint on their canvas. And again, just so that people know that I'm doing the work and not somebody else, what I generally do is I do make my own paints, like I said. Well, I don't make them, but I do all the mixing for any special colors I might need. And we're going to open this up. And, oh, maybe. Aha, the seal popped. There we go. So we have indigo now. Now the thing that's good about this indigo is we will be able to, I'll be able to keep my, well, I don't want that brush. I want this one. My silk one is much nicer. So I put my hand on the tape on the opposite side because this has been taped right to the edge. That's why I started with this line in the beginning. So what I do and what I want to do here is to fully saturate my brush, because you can feel the difference in the textures when from dry to wet canvas. It makes it a little easier. So I'm going to just start to roll this on. I've learned not to go past my fingertips when it comes to painting, because obviously I've then exceeded the limit of my tape, and I'm going to wind up painting something I don't want painted. And there we go. Primarily, you've got the gist of what it is I like to do. So anyway, I'm going to work up my stripe and get it really nice and saturated, so it can take a little time for it to dry. However, you don't have to do multiple coats if you achieve, oh shnikes, I did go over my line. Oh, well, oh well. Oh, just have to paint over that later. Anyway. So here we are, almost to the end. And I like my silk brushes because they tend to glide, and when you get onto drier, you can hear the difference from wet canvas to dry canvas. So I'm not sitting there continuously painting the same spot over and over again on a repeated basis. Once I get this completed, I do like to run over it one more time just to cover my bases. Oops. And make sure everything has been covered. This is where I can't see. However, what's a little problem with vision, right? Anyway, now that you've witnessed the beginning of one of my abstracts, stick around and you'll get a kick out of the fact that we are about to embark on a lovely journey of creating an arm or two for the statue that's currently being created downstairs in the other studio. So, without further ado, hopefully we'll get back to you later today. Later, my monsters. All right, guys, so here's the culmination of my day. Paper mache arm. I thoroughly wrapped it in plastic and had assistance wrapping my arm, and I'm setting it right now with the position that, Elfin McElroy, I think that's what we named him. His arms are going to be stationed like. So we're working on the first arm and hope to hit the second one later today. And hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be able to have his arms on his body. So we'll see you then. Well, as you can see, the paper mache arms did not work. So I have moved on to plan B, and I am going to use a set of arms from a Tyvek suit, and I've stuffed them with paper and the body portion of the old Tyvek suit. It's more of a foam setup. The suit is anyway. So we got our first arm on. This is the arm that's going to hold the staff, the walking stick that he's going to have. And this one is going to be the one that holds him, holds the messenger, the message that he's carrying. He'll have a sack of messages on his hip, and he's going to have his companion on his shoulder. I chose this side so that he could have his companion more open to the visual field. So I'm going to attach his arm here. maybe. I have to get him taped in. And since I can't do the paper mache for his hands either, I did air dry clay, which you could see all over his body right now. I use air dry to start to form over the paper mache the parts of his chest and shoulders that weren't defined with the paper mache. Once they dry, once the paper mache or the air dry clay dries, it sets up fabulously for the aspects of the actual body. So I have his hands here, and I have them formed and taped. This will be obviously his right hand over here, and he's going to be, well, once they're attached, he's going to have them holding a staff, a piece of driftwood that we found that was a perfect walking stick. So, but we need the hands to dry, removing all of the cardboard, all the tape, and then I'm going to paper mache them over once all of this stuff dries, like all of the air dry clay dries and the hands dry. I will attach the hands, and the air dry clay I'm going to form right now over the top of the tape and things that I've put currently on him. Once they dry in place over the tape and lock the appendages that I want to use in place, we're going to then work on attaching his hands. I have some heavy duty wire that's going to keep his arms formed and shaped. And hopefully when it's all said and done, we will be where we need to be. And like I said, originally, this is a creation from when I was in high school that I created for my art portfolio 20 plus years ago. So he is, I guess you could say, the messenger revisited. However, that won't be, I don't think we're going to keep that name on him, just for the sheer fact that it's not fair to the old piece that I did. Not that it cares, it's long since been debunked and fallen apart. So this is where we are. I will continue to work on him, and hopefully the next time we see you, he will have some completed arms, maybe with his hands attached, and formed air dry clay. Once the air dry clay is dry, I will bring you guys back and we will do some paper mache again over that, like we did on his head. And once that all sets up and dries, hopefully within the next week or so, we can start to paint. So again, this is the last time I'll see you today. So have a good day, guys. Bye. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So it's another rainy, dreary day. So I thought I'd work on this project again. Currently have 2 pieces of hard wire. This is the stuff that people generally tend to make the clothes hangers out of, wire clothes hangers. I'm bending and hooking the very tips so that I can insert them into the arm, underneath the armholes of my little guy here. And I'm going to form them to where they're going to go around the arm so that he has some stabilization to those arms. If I can get this one in. And no. There we go. Got it. Oh, no. It fell out. Anyway. Today's a bad day. All the way around. This just goes right along with it. Okay. I think I'm going to have to insert it this long way. Probably going to stab myself in the process. Aha! Got it. Finally. All right. So, of course, now my hook is, of course, oops, out here. However, I'm going to wrap this around his arm in the elbow joint. And then I'm going to attach him this way so that, there we go. Perfect. Now we're going to stay put right there. Next, we're going to try this arm to get this stabilizing bar in, or wire, I should say, into his little armpit. And hook it. Haha. This side's easier. I knew this one would be easier. Anyway, I want to wrap it around this arm like I did the last one. And I'm going to wrap it down and around to his hand. Wherein, oops, wait, he's got there we go. Ha! The wire's now stuck. That's what those hooks were for originally. And now we're going to put this on here. And I'm going to tape that. And now that I've got those the hard wires in to keep the form of the arm in the shape so that I can keep them relatively established, I will start to do some air dry on these guys. The hands have not, of course, dried, and I don't expect them to for quite some time, just for the sheer purpose that they are inside of latex gloves. Thus, they are going to be very difficult to dry. It's probably going to take upwards of 2 weeks. So the hands are going to be a while before we can get them progressively any further. So I'm going to continue to slather on some foaming air dry clay to do the rest of the body structure. He's dried out quite nicely and kept his shape, mostly his shoulders and neck where I wanted that to be. I need to fill out his back, and I also need to fill out more of his abdomen, front chest, abdomen area, and his hip area because of where the wiring, the cage wiring from the chicken wire is up and down the sides of him. I want to even that out more. He's pretty close to stable at this point. And the more weight he has on top, the better the weight distribution for the bottom is going to be. Right now, we have the plaster on the bottom half, and I used industrial foam to spray into those and fill them up. So the legs are full with foam, so they're solid instead of hollowed and easier to break when they're hollow. So really, right now, all I need to do is to continue with my foaming air dry clay. And once that's established, set up, and has taken on its shape, then I'm going to paper mache what is the remaining, cover all of this air dry with some paper mache, and we'll move on to the next steps prior to the painting aspects of it. So we shall see what time shall bring. So stick around and we'll see what comes next. So as you can see, I've finally gotten the arms on. I've established them. They're wired. They've been taped into position. The hands are attached, and I'm getting ready to, I formed the sides, the flanks, and the abdomen where he's got a little tiny belly on him, but I figured he's probably an older guy. He probably drinks a little bit when he stops for a rest. So I've currently been forming and setting the arms with my air dry foam clay, and as you can tell, his walking stick is on. It has been established. It's attached, and it's been hot glued onto the onto his person. I've stretched and pulled and placed my foam rubber and air dry, clay, to his shoulders, and I've been making certain that it blends in with the already dry stuff that was on him. And I'm going to continue down his back. Yes, he's a bit wobbly. Hopefully when I'm all said and done, he will no longer be so wobbly. I'm currently blending in and ironing out some of the bumps that my fingers obviously are going to make while holding him and pressing my clay. But it's fun to play with. I love this foam air dry clay because it's so malleable in certain things. When it comes to this kind of sculpting, it's amazing. However, it's not so fun when you are trying to create a hard object. And you'll see over time, if you continue to follow me, some of the projects I have already in store, and how there are going to be times where I cannot use air dry clay because of its malleability and its easy melt or movement points, because it's literally just rubbery. You can't build a hardwired object out of it and have it dry correctly without melting. So we are going to make him work here. He's working for it. This is what happens when it's a rainy, crappy day outside and you're pissed off at the world for reasons I don't wish to go into. And this is what happens. I knuckle down and I create, because it's a great stress reliever, aside from other things. And I start to work. I progressively work and work and work, and I have a lot of projects that I have in the pipeline, and you may have already seen a few. I've already put my eyes on a female skeleton. I can't wait to start that project. I have a few other smaller projects that I have currently going on that I wish to get done prior, but I have another. That's the next project I'm looking at is hopefully, if I can, I'd like to start on one of my baby dragons, and if I can order this female skeleton, I am going to create something nobody's ever seen before. Or maybe they have, I have no idea. but it'll be fun to watch the progress. It's always fun to watch things emerge from somebody else's imagination, in my opinion, anyway. So, stick around, guys. It's only going to get better. All right. So, I've got almost the whole arm encompassed underneath and around to the back, so that when he dries, his arms will have been fully set and established. I didn't do his back yet. I wanted to do air dry to his back. Unfortunately, I don't have enough clay. I have 3 bags, but unfortunately, they're on back order. And as lightweight as they are, there must be a very high demand for the sheer length of time that it takes. I'm currently on my last bag, and this is 1.15 pounds. It's very lightweight, but it's an enormous amount of air dry, foaming air dry clay. So we're going to continue to work so that you guys can all watch what I'm going to be doing. Now, once I get the air dry clay established on his body, I intend to paper mache over him. I want him fully embodied prior to that, though, because I have to seal him in his paper mache. Once he's fully in paper mache, both the bottom half plastered portions and the concrete that's holding his boots on and down for his weight, I'm going to go over him with a primer paint and establish him as one solid color. I'm going to seal the paint over him. I actually may do his shellacking prior to the primer, just to have it set in correctly. And then I'm going to primer him any which way we look at it. He's got to be fully primered prior to him taking on any paint, because he won't hold his paint otherwise. And I fully intend to make him magnificently colored individual. I also have clothing options already picked out. We already know what we're going to do with him. We have a messenger bag already established, so he will have a messenger bag. I mean, you can't be called the messenger and not have a messenger bag. Once this is done, however, I am going to work on his companion, and so that while during he's drying, I'm going to, again, go down to the modeling aspects here, and I'm going to create his little monkey that's going to go over here on his right shoulder. Hence why he's turned slightly in that direction, and that arm is set like this, like he's looking at his friend who's going to eventually be on his shoulder. So anyway, I'll get back to it, and everyone, we'll see you soon. Bye.